Hi friends, welcome to my another video. Today in this video I will discuss key point mentioned in DEWA regulation. This video will be very important for those who are preparing for DEWA examination, as in this video I will include important point mentioned in DEWA regulation which are generally being asked in DEWA examination. So let's start this video. The first important point mentioned in DEWA regulation is that the nominal electrical supply voltage for DEWA is 230 for single phase and 400 volt for three phase system with plus minus 10% variation. Okay, the next important point is that the frequency in DEWA or UAE, we can say it is 50 Hz and it is a three phase 4 wire system. The other important point is that the design fault level within the substation to be 40 kiloampere for 1 second duration. So in examination you will be asked that what is the nominal electrical supply voltage from DEWA, and you will have multiple answers. In that you have to choose 230 for single phase and 400 for three phase with plus minus 10% variation. You have to click on this option. Other question will be raised from this point is that what is the maximum design fault level within the substation is. There will be multiple choice question, and in that there will be one choice 40 kiloampere for 1 second duration. So you have to choose this answer 40 kiloampere for 1 second. Okay, now let us move to the other point. Here DEWA stated that when we require 30 milliampere RCD, and there are 4 points mentioned under it. When there will be any mobile equipment, okay, which having the rating less than 32 ampere, then we need to have 30 milliampere RCD as a earth leakage protection. What does it mean? Suppose I have a vacuum cleaner, okay, and its rating is less than 32 ampere. In order to have the earth leakage protection, we should fed this vacuum cleaner through a 30 milliampere RCD in order to have earth leakage protection. So any mobile equipment like vacuum cleaner, any grass cutter, any other mobile equipment which having a ampere rating less than 32 ampere, we have to have 30 milliampere RCD for the earth leakage protection to run this mobile equipment. Hope you are clear so far. Now the second point mentioned that all socket outlet of rating 20 ampere or less should be protected through 30 milliampere RCD. What does it mean? Suppose in my home there is single socket and there is double socket, okay. These socket must be fed through RCD of 30 milliampere in order to have earth leakage protection. This socket rating is 13 ampere. Sometime it will be 15 ampere and sometime it could be 20 ampere also. So any socket outlet less than 20 ampere should have a earth leakage protection through RCD of 30 milliampere. Hope you are clear so far. Now let us move to the other point. Other point is very important and we have to understand it very clearly. What it says that the cable concealed in the wall at the depth of less than 50 mm. What does it mean? We need an RCD. Suppose I have a wall of thickness of 200 mm, okay, 200 mm, and I have a concealed conduit inside the wall, but the depth of this conduit inside the wall is less than 50 mm. It is not too much in between the wall, but it is just in edge of the wall and it is less than 500 mm, this concealed conduit. Then in that case we need to protect this wire through 30 milliampere of RCD. Why? I'll tell you the answer. As this concealed conduit is in the edge of the wall, just less than 50 mm of the depth, then if anything we will drill in the wall or if we will hammer a nail inside the wall, there is a chance that this screw or the nail will puncture the conduits as well as the wire and the person will be electrocuted. So in order to protect that person, we have to give 30 milliampere RCD protection. So if anything happen accidentally, then this person will not be electrocuted and circuit breaker will trip through this 30 milliampere RCD. Hope you are very clear. Now the fourth point says that the cable concealed in the wall partition containing metal parts. Suppose sometime we have a gypsum wall or cement board wall which having a metal frame inside the wall, or we can say GI stud in the wall. If we are running a wire through the conduit or openly in such wall where there is a metal frame inside the wall, then we have to go for 30 milliampere RCD, earth leakage protection. Hope you are very clear with this important point. In DEWA, they will frame question by using this important topic, that when the RCD is 30 milliampere RCD is required, and they will give one of the multiple choice question including any one of the point. You have to choose the correct one. The next important point mentioned in DEWA regulation is that when the total connected load exceed 400 kilowatt, okay, then we need to build DEWA substation within the premises. Okay, suppose I have a project, okay, it is a small industrial project which having a load of 800 kilowatt. As this project exceeding 400 kilowatt, we need to have a substation within the premises. But suppose I have a villa, okay, and its load is 250 kilowatt. So as per DEWA regulation, the load of this villa is less than 400 kilowatt, then we don't require any substation inside the villa. Just on the compound wall we will fix our main DB or meter cabinet, you can say in a correct way, and DEWA will give power supply to this meter cabinet. But whenever the load exceed more than 400 kilowatt, then DEWA will ask you to build a substation within the premises. Okay, this is very important point. Even if the project is villa and it's exceeding 400 kilowatt, even then we have to provide a separate substation within the villa premises. Hope you are very clear with this point. The next important point mentioned in DEWA regulation, that whenever the LV distribution panel is connected directly with the low voltage side of the transformer, then the main circuit breaker proposed in the LV panel is recommended to be totally withdrawable type 4-pole ACB breaker. What does it mean? I have a transformer, okay, my project load is greater than 400 kilowatt. Okay, this is my project, and the load of this project is more than 400 kilowatt. So I need one substation inside my premises. Substation have this transformer. Hope you are clear, okay, till here. And this is the HV side, this is the LV side of the transformer. Here we have the MDB for this project, okay, and it has a incomer. As per DEWA regulation, what it said, the LV side of the transformer is connecting to the LV switchgear. Then that breaker where the LV side of the transformer is connected, it must be air circuit breaker, okay, 4-pole, and it should be totally withdrawable type. What does it mean, totally withdrawable type? This breaker we can rack out. There will be a provision that the breaker can be rack in and rack out. That breaker is called withdrawable type. So the important point to note here is that when the transformer LV side is connected to the breaker must be ACB, air circuit breaker 4-pole. Okay, DEWA will frame the question from this topic, that what type of circuit breaker should be connected to the LV side of the transformers. The option will be there will be 4 options available. You have to select totally withdrawable type 4-pole air circuit breaker. Hope you are clear so far. The other important point mentioned in DEWA regulation is that the metering by means of current transformer CT shall be installed where the circuit breaker rating at a point of supply is 160 ampere and above. What does it mean? Here DEWA said, suppose you have one villa, okay, and its load is 80 kilowatt, okay. So as per 80 kilowatt you need 160 ampere breaker, okay, in the compound wall meter cabinet. This 160 ampere breaker you need in the compound wall. Suppose now my load of this villa is not 80 kilowatt but it is 60 kilowatt. In that case what we need 125 ampere circuit breaker. As my breaker rating is 125, DEWA will connect the cable directly to my meter cabinet, and that meter does not require any current transformer. But as my load of the villa project is 80 kilowatt, so I need 160 ampere of breaker. So when DEWA will connect the power to the meter cabinet, that meter should have the current transformer to read the kWh consumption. Okay, so what is the moral of the story? Any breaker rating greater than and equal to 160 ampere, the kWh meter will be CT type, and if it is less than 160 ampere, then we need we can connect the cable directly to the meter without any CT arrangement. Hope you are very clear with this point. Now let us move to the other very important point mentioned in DEWA regulation, is that the maximum voltage drop from the point of supply to any point, equipment, appliances and the apparatus connected in the wiring installation shall not exceed 4% of the nominal voltage of the electrical supply. This is very important. Here you see it is mentioned nominal voltage of the electrical supply. In the first point, we know that DEWA is supplying 230 volt for single phase and 400 volt for three phase. Okay, now here we have one MDB, then we have SMDB, then we have DB, then and directly we have some load, let's say it's a motor, then we have one small load, this is load. Okay, so how will be, and there will be one transformer. So from transformer power will come to MDB, from MDB it will come to SMDB, from SMDB the power will be distributed some to the final distribution board and some to the direct load, and some loads are distributed through DBs. So there is another load, there are many loads which is connected to the DB. He said that what is our nominal voltage? 400, which will reach here. Okay, not in the transformer, because what we will select the transformer, it will be 415 volt transformer at the secondary side, but due to this cable which have a limit of 30 meter maximum, okay, there will be a drop of 15 volt maximum. In all the cases it won't be, but maximum consideration is that this 15 volt will drop due to the losses in the transformer, losses in the cable connected to the MDB. So 400 volt will reach here. Okay, then what will happen? DEWA is saying the maximum voltage drop, when we will measure the voltage here at the load in, then it should not be less than 4%. Less than 4%. What does it mean? What is the 4% of 400 volt? That is 16 volt. Okay, so the voltage must reach to the load side should be 400 minus 16 volt, which could be, we can say it is how much? 384 volt must reach to the load. So here some people confuse that nominal voltage is 400 volts, so the load at the load side, the maximum voltage drop along this all path must be less than 4%. So we have to receive voltage here, voltage drop between the MDB to the load less than 16 volt, and in the percentage it should be less than 4%. Hope you are clear with this point. Now let us move to the other important point mentioned in DEWA regulation. What it says, I will tell you. Suppose I have a project, it is a villa project or any small industrial project, commercial project. It has the main incomer rating of the MDB 200 ampere or above. Okay, then that panel, that MDB which having a breaker rating of 200 or greater ampere, then this panel should have RYB phase indicator, with voltage selector switch and voltmeter. Okay, there will be voltage selector switch and voltmeter. Apart from that, it should have ammeter. It should have emitter for each phase, so there will be a three phase, so R phase ammeter, Y phase ammeter, B phase ammeter. It should have maximum demand recorder and power factor meter. So this panel should have power factor meter, indicating lamp, as I told you, this is RYB indicating lamp, and associative device shall be provided for all MDB of 200 ampere rating and above. What does it mean? As I told you, if in your project there is a MDB and it has a main incomer rating greater than or equal to 200 ampere, then these metering and indicating equipment must be available in your MDB. What are these? The indicating phase availability indicating lamp, voltmeter, ammeter, voltage selector, okay, power factor meter, and its related protective devices, okay, like CT. Hope you are clear. But suppose you have here 400 ampere MDBs. As it is greater than 200 ampere, you required this arrangement. And inside this same project, you have one SMDB, okay, SMDB, which having a breaker rating 250 ampere. For example, here you see at any breaker which having greater than 200 ampere, we required such arrangement. But it is only valid for MDB. Here the SMDB is having a breaker rating, incomer breaker rating more than 200 ampere, but we don't require all this metering device. It is optional. You can go for that or you cannot. But when it is a MDB, it is mandatory. But for SMDB, it is not mandatory. Even the rating is exceeding 200 ampere. Hope you are very clear with this point. Now let us move to the another very important point mentioned in DEWA regulation, which is frequently asked in DEWA examination also. As per this point, suppose I have one commercial project, okay, commercial project, and it has one MDB, main distribution board, which having a breaker rating greater than or equal to 200 ampere, greater than or equal to 200 ampere. Then this project required capacitor bank, okay, capacitor bank required. But suppose this project is now not commercial, it is a residential project. Then for MDB having a breaker rating 400 ampere or above, then only capacitor bank required. What does it mean? For commercial building, if the main breaker rating is 200 ampere or above, then only the capacitor bank required. But for residential building, if the load main breaker rating is greater than 400 ampere, then only the capacitor bank required. As for commercial project, when the load exceed more than 200 ampere, or then the individual compensation is not possible. But in same way, for residential building, when the load is exceeding 400 ampere or above, then the individual compensation for the power factor is not possible. So why? Because for commercial project the load will be different, and for the residential project the load will be different. For residential purpose, the load will be single sockets, double socket, washing machine, dishwasher, hand dryer. These all will be the normal water heater. These all will be the load for the residential project. But for commercial, there will be a big motor for running some equipment. So that time the compensation, individual compensation, is not possible at a lesser load. That's why for commercial project, capacitor bank required when the load is equal or greater than 200 ampere, and for residential building when the main breaker rating for the MDB is greater than or equal to 400 ampere, then only the capacitor bank required. This is the part 1 video in series of key point for DEWA regulation. I will cover the other more important points of DEWA regulation in part 2 video of this series. So stay tuned and watch my video. We will meet in any other video. Till then, take care, keep learning, and bye bye. Thank you so much.